Alright guys, pleased to announce that I finished updating my minor watersheds GIS layer, and this year's update is probably the most comprehensive. Part of that is we've taken advantage of some newer data sets that are available. So I've kind of broken this down into a few different ones. Land cover is kind of broken out separate. I've also done this by the Huck 8, Huck 10, Huck 12 level, as well as the minor. And if you open this up, you'll see there's just a ton of different fields. And what I've also done too is to convert this into just a regular old Excel table, and that's maybe a little bit easier to read and understand. But the cool thing about the land cover data is it basically summarizes the new 2016 National Land Cover data set that just was released. It also includes potential native plant communities data set that was just updated earlier in 2019, and it also includes a new historic vegetation model that kind of updates Marshner's map. It was done by MnDOT and just released here actually a month ago. And so you can kind of play around with this data, and most of the data is sorted into acres, and you'll see just there's a ton of different fields. So to map this, again, kind of go to your symbology tab. Let's say you want to know, how much hay pasture land there are from the National Land Cover data set. I didn't put percentages for all the columns because there's a ton of them, so you're going to have to use this normalization field to get your acreage, and then you can kind of manually change the ranges however you want to, I guess, and then change the labels accordingly. So again, you'll have to kind of play around with the data. There's land cover data, there is ground cover data, groundwater data, and then protection quality risk data. So in the protection quality risk, I'll just kind of show the spreadsheet. That's probably easier to see what's in there. So we basically have tallied up for you all the amount of public lands, public waters, wetlands, private wetlands, public wetlands, easements, SFIA, forest stewardship plans. That kind of gives you your total protected lands. A lot of other things related to quality in here, such as the Wildlife Action Network. There's some things related to risk factors, such as row miles, feedlots. Especially when you go down to the minor watershed, you'll pick up all these different columns and basically kind of a yes or no as to whether, for example, there's a trout stream in there, whether there's a priority wild rice lake or a natural muskie lake in that minor watershed. All kinds of risk factors as well. So I put in a tab here on the bottom that explains the different fields. So this is going to be your cheat sheet for where the data, what the data is, and then also the source of the data. If you want to actually go and physically read up more about it or download it, that's where you go. And I'm also actually going to put in a thermometer. I know there's been some interest in kind of recreating our protection thermometers, and so you can do this yourself. I will have a separate video on how, but this is also in this Excel table. So with that, I will make this data available where you can go and download it. If you have any questions, just give me a call.